Hey everyone, this is Daniel from PhoneArena with a video review of the Huawei Ascend P6. With this phone, Huawei is trying to provide what many think Android is not strong at in this moment, a well-designed mid-ranger with adequate pricing. The phone is not only the slimmest smartphone at 6.8 millimeters, 0.24 inches, but the generous use of metal and some design twists in the chassis give it a more premium feeling than your average plastic Andro. Brushed aluminum backplate on the back, metal band around the sides with diamond cut edges and a rounded bottom. The Ascend P6 is undoubtedly a catwalk star and a very light one at that. With a metal rim on the sides and the two notches interrupting it left and right, the phone actually resembles very much the iPhone 4 4S design concept, which might be in effect sought on purpose, although there are enough exterior differences, so Apple doesn't jump off the proverbial chair. Being the slimmest out there has its virtues in terms of looks and portability, and disadvantages in terms of feel, as it's often uncomfortable to operate such a thin device, or pick it up from a desk, for example. Thankfully, the Huawei Ascend P6 has sharp edges, which make for a more secure grip, though the phone feels, well, a bit too edgy against the skin because of that. The metal power lock key here on the right and the volume rocker are pretty well placed, wide enough, easy to feel and press without looking, with good tactile feedback. And overall the phone feels like Huawei has paid a lot of attention to detail. It appears crafted with precision, and the side rim runs uninterrupted with gaping ports and openings, save for the micro USB one here at the top. Huawei even went so far in terms of plug-in openings that it inserted the tray ejector for the micro SIM and micro SD card in the headphone jack here. This circular metal piece looks intriguing over there, and it's easy to pry out if you want to take out the micro SIM card or the micro SD for extra storage. Just make sure when you take it out to plug the headphone jack that you hide it in your wallet dime compartment, for example, because it's pretty easy to lose otherwise. The phone flaunts a 4.7-inch 720 by 1280 pixels IPS LCD panel with 312 ppi density, which is more than enough for your daily needs. The screen sports the modern in-cell touch technology that contributes to the slim waistline of the P6. That means a slimmer packaging, letting more backlight go through, increased contrast and better responsiveness. Color representation is very good, and you can also adjust the color temperature of the display right here from its settings. The default is neutral, but you can go from warm to cold colors and back to neutral. The screen has very good viewing angles. As you can expect from an IPS LCD, it's sufficiently bright outside with its 470 nits, but has a bit too much reflectance, which diminishes sunlight visibility and makes it hard to tell in direct rays due to mirror reflections. There's this gloves only mode here in the settings, which means that you can use the display while on the ski lift, for example, and the mode can be turned on and off directly from the settings. Let's have a look at the Emotion UI interface now. First thing you notice about Huawei's new Emotion UI on top of Android 4.2.2 is that it does away with the up drawer and centers everything on the home screens. The widgets are very compact with minimized border distance, and thus you can fit a bunch of them on the screen. The apps are neatly laden into categorized folders here on the next screen. The third houses the apps you download and so on. Unfortunately, the awesome ability from the Huawei Ascend made, for example, to hide and show the navigation bar with a small arrow from whichever app you're into doesn't seem to be present here, reserved for the larger phablet display. Another nice idea are the so-called profiles with their own switch in the notification bar. A ring dialer appears. When you press it, you can choose from several presets like work, home, sleep, etc. Each profile has an abundance of settings for everything from sound volume through display options to connectivity choices. There's also an abundance of theme modes plus a way to customize your current theme to your heart's desire. Amongst all the connectivity and profiles toggles here, there's a screenshot button, which comes in very handy, because you don't have to press simultaneously the power lock key and the volume down here on the right. Let's have a look at the default Emotion UI keyboard. It's actually very easy to type on. The keys are well spaced. And the symbols are big enough so you don't tap on the neighbor while trying to key something in quickly. At 4.7 inches and an elongated profile, the display is just right for one-handed typing as well. The upside of the HD resolution is that there aren't as many pixels to push for the GPU, so the homebrew 1.5 GHz quad-core processor is powering the handset relatively well, putting it somewhere in the golden middle of the benchmark ladder, though sometimes it feels sluggish compared to other quad-core chipsets. The processor might not be a speed king, but Huawei has placed the generous for mid-ranger 2 GB of RAM in the handset, so some serious app queuing can be formed before you run out of RAM. There are 8 GB of internal storage, of which about 4 are user available. And we have a microSD card tray on the side for storage expansion when needed. Let's see the quadrant result now. We got 5,061 points, which is nothing really to write home about. The default Emotion UI browser is pretty barren as an interface, as you can see, but it renders pages pretty well and has the added benefit of supporting side-loaded Adobe Flash, so we won't be left out when you come across a piece of web which needs it. The phone is pentaband, 21 megabits per second HSPA phone, meaning that it supports all major frequency bands, so you can use it on both AT&T and T-Mobile in the States, as well as in Europe and Asia for your international traveling. There are also Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 3.0 and GPS radios, and that's about it, while the wired connectivity is simply a regular USB port. We get the typical grid thumbnail view in the gallery with no fancy pinching rearrangements, and the picture editing options are more limited than what you used to see lately, but we have crops, resizes, and a couple of special effects that are covered here. The music player is pretty basic visually too, with the obligatory tune categorization by artists' albums, playlists, and even genres, as well as album art depiction. There are no built-in Equalizer presets, but the Dolby Mobile full surround sound button makes a difference when turned on, as you can hear. And the loudspeaker turns out pretty strong and clear sound to boot. In addition, the Ascent P6 plays all major video formats you can throw at it, like DivX, XVAD, MKV even, and that's up to 1080 definition as well. This is a 1080p DivX movie, as you can see, and it plays without a hiccup. And the screen is pretty, even though it's HD resolution, not Full HD. It's more than enough for watching videos and browsing through the interface. The camera app interface is comparatively simple, with a few basic shooting modes like panorama, HDR, beauty face and burst shot, plus a couple of color effects. Nothing fancy, but most stuff you might need is here. Unfortunately, the camera app feels slow to load, and shot times aren't the ones you used to with flagship devices. Also, unfortunately, the pictures from the 8 megapixel shooter on the back come out decent only in ample outdoor lighting. They have enough detail and sharpness, but colors seem a bit washed out. When the lights dim down, noise and blur creep up significantly, and some weird hues get cast over the images, especially with the flash on, which is pretty weak to boot. Video is recorded in 1080p with 30 frames per second. You can also do HDR video. But our retail unit did actually 26 frames per second on average, and that was in bright sunshine. It also skipped frames like crazy when panning around, making the video appear rather choppy. The frontal camera is interesting as well here. You've got a 5 megapixel shooter with this beauty mode slider, which enhances your face, improving blemishes and skin tones to a certain level. It also has a 720p HD video recording mode. However, we didn't notice the high resolution to result in much higher pixel video quality compared to your average front shooter. With its combination of curved lines and sharp metal edges, the slimmest phone out there is undoubtedly one of the most elegant designs we've seen, and not only in the Android world too. The Ascend P6 gets almost all major smartphone details right, except for the mediocre camera, which has some issues with pictures and video. Still, for about $400 or euros, we can't complain if something's lacking on a mid-ranger, especially in such a thin and light package. Direct competitors are other mid-range Android handsets with similar specs, like the LG Optimus G Nexus 4, Samsung Galaxy S3, or the Sony Xperia SP. With the exception of the glass chassis on the LG, however, they don't sport premium designer looks. So if you want a looker with the latest version of Android without breaking the bank, the Ascend P6 deserves your serious consideration. As advantages, we would point out the svelte metallic design here and the pentaband radio inside. And disadvantages, it's actually only one, the subpar camera. This was a video review of the Huawei Ascend P6 from PhoneArena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.